What's going on with this fight? What's with Kevin Shells? I'm Shells.
Kev, 8 Count Sports, 8 Count Sports. What's going on, man? What's going on?
And it's had a crazy night tonight, Kev. Crazy night, man.
Oh man, Fatal Fury. You know what? I'm gonna retire the term made to order. I think I need to retire that, bro.
Nah. You can't retire because in your defense, you can't retire made to order because if you retire made to order, you gotta retire upset on the other end of it.
Okay.
It's a made to order.
Man, oh man. Folks, if you don't know what we're talking about, Fatal Fury, 3 of the most highly acclaimed, let's go from junior welterweight to now welterweight fighters in the world, Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez, and of course Ryan Garcia, who was the main event, expected to beat Rolly. He's in the ring with Rolly Romero. Expected to take this one. Rolly, a tough fighter, a bit awkward, has power, and Shells. Ryan, amateur fights. It's been talked that they fought in sparring, and Ryan done knocked him out. They already had a fight signed for Ryan Garcia to go up against Devin Haney again. This was signed. This was the prelude. This was the warm up. Man,
this was crazy. This was an upset for 2 reasons. Number one, the obvious, because Rolo won.
Yeah, Rolly won.
Rolly won. Not to mention getting the only knockdown in the fight in the second round. That was crazy to me.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And also, it being fight of the night. That was the fight that we thought was going to be cleaned up, and that was actually the fight of the night.
Well, I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought that had a chance to be fight of the night, but I just thought the result would be obvious. I thought out of all of the fights, that result would have been obvious. But according to their styles, it was a good chance it would have been fight of the night. But just 2 rounds of fury, guns blazing, bro.
Rolly was so surprised that he won. That he didn't even have when after you win the award you got your acceptance speech.
Right.
And you already know who you want to thank and where you want to go and stuff. Yo, he didn't even know what was next. And you're still saying Haney and Garcia should be fighting each other when the luster, people still pay to see it, but the implications of that fight are no longer there anymore. Bro, you got all the cards now. I think because when I first listened to him to his post fight interview, it kind of upset me like, yo, bro, why are you selling yourself short? But now he probably wasn't even prepared to win. He didn't even have a prepared speech for if he had won, bro. So he just read off the script that if he had win or lost, because that's what you say if you lose. I don't know what's next to me. Them two should still have their rematch.
What I think is next for Rolly, I was saying a Garcia rematch. I actually think that's more on par. Actually, they're saying Haney. I mean, the Haney thing could still happen with Ryan and Haney because they have a story. It's a grudge match. It'll sell. And to be honest with you, I don't think Haney's performance. I think it left something for the imagination. I like that they had Jim Lampley and Tarver on. The old school HBO commentators, because they kept it real. They brought up from the jump. Haney looked a little nervous, didn't seem to want to engage, and they started to bring up maybe. And this is what I was saying in the pre-fight. I'm not so sure. Look, you may be able to erase the but he still went through what he went through that night, and he seemed a bit nervous against Ramirez when he did let his hands go. He dominated, but he just didn't want to do that. He was extremely cautious. So I think that fight it's I understand that the implications aren't as big, but that's still a sell. I think that fight is still a sell.
Okay.
What about you? What do you think is next for?
I mean, I think shoot, honestly, bro.
Yeah.
got you got one of the biggest ups, probably the biggest upset of your career. You ruined the implications of the, one of the biggest selling points of this Fatal Fury was the Garcia Haney rematch
Right.
because everybody felt that they was going to beat their opponents.
Right.
You upset that. I think that should reflect in the next chapter of this, which is you replace Ryan and going and fighting Haney.
Rolly. Who Rolly?
No, Rolly should fight Haney. I'm saying
If I
he
Haney.
should replace Garcia and fight Haney. I think that's what it should reflect because that was one of the biggest selling points of this Fatal Fury, bro. That these two guys are gonna have their rematch.
Well, I think the Garcia Haney fight will probably always be there. I think it'll always kind of be there, regardless of.
From after what you saw tonight, what do you think would be a bigger selling fight? Ryan versus Haney two, or Raleigh versus Haney? Just offer the victory, or
Yeah.
or Raleigh versus
Or Rolly
out
against
of
who?
those three.
Rolly against who?
Raleigh versus Garcia two.
The biggest seller is gonna be Haney and Garcia. They have
So
history.
still,
Yeah, they have the history in itself. Haney is still viable as far as, and if Ryan were to beat Haney, Ryan at this point, I think he's kind of going in the Tyson lane, but not as big. Mike Tyson, after he lost, when he bit Holyfield, I mean, after Buster Douglas lost to Holyfield, and then when he bit Holyfield, it became more of an entertainment thing. It was like, yeah, this is Mike Tyson. He knocks people out, but you don't know what's gonna happen. Like, and there was the allure with Tyson. Like, it was like, it was Mike. You don't. He bit him. He knocked people out. You don't. Something's going to happen. I don't want to miss this. It's a spectacle. I think Ryan is kind of going in that direction. This fight was entertaining. It was entertaining, and it was the result was like, whoa. You know what I'm saying? Seeing Ryan come off the canvas. We've seen Ryan come off the canvas before and do his thing. We see it here. We seen the Haney fight. We thought he won. 24 hours later, he lost. Like it's becoming a spectacle for Ryan. So I think if you're talking about what's gonna sell, it's gonna be Haney and Ryan. If you're telling me what's the the fight with more implications, like then we talking Rolly Haney. You could slide Teofimo there as well. He was spectacular tonight. And I mean, there's when you talk about implications, and I thought for a second there boxing was going to be boxing, and they was going to rob Rolly. So boxing is wild like that. The fact that Ryan, bro, remember Ryan got knocked out by Tank. That happened. Popped and failed a drug test and lost, and not lost, got, I don't want to say DQ'd, but got the whole thing. It was a whole mess going into that fight. For all of this to still be happening, and we still and Ryan main evented this whole thing against guys that were actually vying for this. Like Devin Haney was the former champion, former undisputed. Teofimo Lopez is former undisputed and current like these are champions, undefeated and one with one loss. And Ryan, so yes, he puts butts in seats, man, butts in seats. So yeah,
you're right.
Who's gonna sell more is gonna be Ryan.
I get it. I mean, I get it, but from a pure standpoint, I think Roman should get that. To me, you're right. We should throw Theo in there as well, but definitely I feel that the one of the biggest implications of this Fury was the rematch between Garcia and Ryan. I mean between Garcia and Haney. Garcia's out of there. Put Rolly in there, like that's what I think. But
I'm with it.
Speaking of Haney, I mean, you with it. Let's see if Turkey Al Sheik is with it. Um, speaking of Haney, that was the second main event of the night. Haney versus Ramirez.
Yeah.
that was the fight that we thought was going to be a fight of the night. We kind of predicted that was going to be the fight of the night. And like you stated a few minutes ago, even the commentators took notice of how hesitant Haney looked during the fight, as if he still was dealing with what he learned or what he experienced from last year's bout with Garcia. What do you think about the fight, Kev?
I thought that, I guess as a, we call ourselves purists and like fans that watch it, you kind of understand what's going on. Going into the fight, this was the one fight that I said that I didn't really have any doubts about. I mean, that I did have doubts about. Excuse me. I wasn't so sold that Haney was over the Ryan thing. You know what I mean? And I wasn't so sold that not only the steroids and the backlash from the fans, but the physical of what happened in the matchup. And Ramirez is an aggressive fighter, and a bit bigger as far as fighting in a bigger weight class the majority of his career. So I had my reservations about it. I still picked Haney to win, but this was the more unpredictable fight that I thought was the night. Haney was very didn't look to engage. When he did let his hands go, he looked sharp. And it was one-sided, but just not. I think, like the commentators, I felt Haney could have did more. But as Jim Lambley said, what was the term? Win today, look better tomorrow, and you look better in your next fight. Win today, look good in the next one. I wasn't mad at the fight, but I can understand. Huh?
In layman terms, a W is a W.
Exactly. And last but certainly not least, we had Teofimo against Barboza, undefeated. What was that? 31-0. Barboza was streaking coming into this fight. Teofimo Lopez, all-world, former undisputed lightweight champion, former almost undisputed, if not fully undisputed, 140-pound champion. They tied it up. It was Teofimo Lopez coming out with the W over Barboza. What did you think of this fight?
Out of all three of those fights, it was the most, I'll say it's the most exciting. And I say it's the, in the sense that what made the fight between Ryan and Rich exciting was we were seeing something we didn't expect to see. It was the upset factor of that fight that made it exciting. Like, yo, are you serious? Like Ryan got knocked down in the second round, and Rolly's actually putting on a dominant performance. Like, it's crazy. Right. He's coming out with victory. Right. But with Theo and Barboza, it was a very equal back and forth. Right. I really enjoyed it. It was a good way to set the tone. Mm-hmm. And you gotta respect Theo. Like he's a quote unquote clown when it comes to promoting these fights. But when he comes in the ring, he comes into ring on some serious business. Like, he's not to play with, he's not to be laugh at. I enjoyed it, bro. I enjoyed it. Am I mad with the results? Nah. I think the judge judged it right. I think Theo did enough to show that he was right. And like I said before, if for whatever reason Rolly doesn't get that shot with Haney, which is just I'm the one that's saying it, then it does make sense for Theo and Rolly to go at it. I would love to see that as well. I'll be just excited to see that.
Theo and Rolly.
Matter of fact, I think that would be more exciting than Haney and Rolly based on what I see tonight. Tell you the truth.
Yeah, more exciting. Yeah, Theo.
So I think about, I want to see that. I want Rolly versus Theo next.
Yeah, Theo. I'll say this. I thought the fight of the night was Ryan and Rolly. I thought that was the fight of the night. It was fireworks, and it was kind of didn't. Once Ryan went down, you kind of didn't know how the fight was gonna go. I thought performance of the night was Teofimo. Okay. He looked really good. Counter punching. He showed that there was levels. Barboza was undefeated, 31-0. Had to win over Catterall. Had to win over who was that? over Ramirez, who we also saw in these cards. These are solid fighters he's beaten. Like world champions, former world champions. Teofimo showed that, yo, I'm a superstar. Like, you're good, but I'm here. Like, I am here. Like, he left no doubt. He didn't get a stoppage, and Barboza was game. Barboza was about as good as you could come, and Teofimo showed the separation, like counter punching, hit and not get hit, everything. He had. I thought he had the best performance out of everybody. I was very impressed with Teofimo Lopez. So we'll see what happens. I know that him and Haney was supposed to fight a zillion times, and it always seemed to fall through. So I don't know if he'll step up and take that. Especially when Haney looking a bit gun shy. He seemed a bit gun shy, maybe, And
Haney or Theo?
Huh?
If who would step up and take that fight? Haney or
either one of them. He keeps falling through. Both keep blaming the other. It's boxing politics. So I don't know who doesn't want to fight. I couldn't tell you.
Let's be honest, Kev. I mean, well, let me ask.
But I'll say this.
Who do you think is more likely to step up?
Haney. The reason why I say Haney is because it's just noticeable stuff. Whenever these two are supposed to fight, Teofimo always has this thing of dismissing Haney. As if, he's a carbon copy, he's this, that, and the fifth. Haney's always the one when they ask him about the fight is saying, I'm trying to make the fight. So you can see in the verbiage, it's not, I don't recall Teofimo ever saying, I offered him this fight, or I tried to make the Teo is always trying to be is a bit dismissive of fighting Haney, like trying to belittle Haney in a way.
That's a threat?
He talks that way. What happened?
You think Teo sees Haney as a threat? Like he sees something in his style of boxing that may be hard for him to figure out?
Why isn't he fought him? Haney is the one, I'm going to be honest with you, Shell. The only person I think Haney may have ducked is probably Shakur. I got that impression. But outside of Shakur Stevenson, Haney's fought everybody. He's fought Lomachenko. He fought Ryan. He got Ryan in there and fought Ryan prior to anybody. Ryan started flipping out after the fight was signed. So it's not like he saw blood in the water. So he's the one that's always active. He went all the way to Australia to go fight Kambosos to become undisputed twice. And it's believable that Teo didn't want to fight him because Teo was undisputed. Was not even. Teo actually had the majority of the belts except for the WBC. Haney had the last belt, and they end up fighting Kambosos instead of Haney trying to be undisputed. End up losing that fight. Haney's the one that flew out there. So it's always, I feel like it's kind of on Teo's side. And to be completely honest with you, Shells, I actually think I've always thought that Teo had the style to actually maybe knock Haney out. He has an interesting kind of style. Like if you're a pure, I don't know, Haney is probably underratedly skilled, but it makes me think that maybe Haney has something that Teo doesn't, that makes Teo uncomfortable. I don't know. I can't call it. Just watching them fight, Teo has a way of landing his right hand. Like he's sneaky with it. I could see him hitting Haney. But if you ask me who's avoiding what, it seems like Teofimo. It's weird.